Hello, everyone, and welcome to another World of Sasquatch. Today's episode is being recorded on 6/16/24. So this is going to be very interesting, but also very constrained or strained a little bit as well. I will explain what I mean uh, as we go along, but Joanna, open the circle properly so that we can get the show on the road here.
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good will be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones to let healing energies in. Let them love you and nourish you and bring you to your highest good. We pray for ourselves, our friends, our family, our loved ones to also let healing energies in, to let it love them and nourish them and bring them to their highest good. We ask for benevolence now with no conflicting agenda to please join this conversation in order for it to be heard clearly and concisely and to be supported against what appears to be a lot of interference today. We ask for malevolence and for mischievous beings to be scooted away in order for this conversation to be had. We ask for a lot of support for this conversation today to come in from benevolence, to come in from those past family members, to come in from our higher self, to be able to usher in this conversation. And again, to be had in a way that you are at peace with hearing it, that you may take this in, and that you may mull it around and keep what you feel serves your highest good. With that, and with our great blessings, we say so be it.
So yeah. Okay. Also, I'm going to be splicing in a segment that me and Richie did in a session of his that he's let me put in about this very subject. So the subject today is, at least a working title was, the truth of uh, energy reports, co-creation, real or energy flows. Meaning, you see all these energy reports across the internet, and this could just as easily have been a lifting episode, but any channelings done by the forest people, we tend to put in the World of Sasquatch category, because since they're the ones giving the message. I'm going to start making these available on the YouTube again, as well as make them available on the World of Sasquatch's Rumble account. So, with that said, the topic I found very, very interesting, where a force person by the name of Ren was coming in talking about the different the way you pick up different energies. Like, say, if you enter a neighborhood and it feels all right, but then I mean, the energy seems okay, but at the same time, the your gut feeling or intuition is saying something's not right, but then you're seeing what's going on. You still have to discern and go with intuition each and every single time, because there may be something there that is deceiving, which we've talked about overlays in the past, which I encountered something very, very fervent in the transmutation and uh, overlay category. You'll hear Ren referring to an incident with a fly, which I was in a parking lot by her workplace, putting up the stickers with the Merkaba symbol all over the place. There was a gray that I saw appear transparent nearby, and there was a bee that actually stung me while I was there. It hit me in the head, meaning that was like telepathic whack, like that. Isaac always says I pinged their amygdala, meaning the higher reasoning center, and that's where they were hitting on my head, was about where the amygdala is. And then I turned around, hit me on the back here, and then stung me in the shoulder, which means that was somebody doing that. The fly looking right, or bee, excuse me, bee looking right at me, had the more of the face of a gray, and instead of a bee. And you'd expect like insectoid too, because some of them have bug in them. But at the same time, this literally had, I was literally seeing the assailant. So that's what they mean by overlay. There's transmutation, transconfiguration, where something possesses you and the face changes. But at this point, this was also an overlay as well. But with this is what they mean by areas. It could seem okay, and there is an overlay. and also energy reports across the internet. They're basically saying that the more you keep talking about a particular thing and you're building it en masse, like the whole two or more walk in my name category, whereas you are co-creating the very thing you are predicting, and the fireman becoming the arsonist unbeknownst to that person or group of people. That is the subject that Ren was bringing through. I thought this was fascinating because I was picking up on certain things to begin with, and some didn't feel right. Just for months, my intuition has been basically screaming at me something was not right. But at the same time, things were calm, and I'm like, okay, what is this? So today, right at this point, I'm going to show you the clip from me and Richie's session, uh, and I'll put that in there, and you will actually see Ren talking about briefly about those things. They tried to put it through in quantum to me, and there was again a mistranslation. The binary network was screwing around, and there was adds to a mistranslation. So when people are also thinking they're getting spirit contact, force people contact, guide contact, the binary network is slipping in with both an overlay and also transmitting on the quantum level. People think quantum light language is restricted to benevolence only. That is complete BS. It is a language. It's no different than me speaking English. Telepathy is not restricted to positivity. It's everywhere. It's like speaking a language. Psionics in general are not restricted to positivity. People know this when dealing with the Draco, dealing with the Greys, dealing with good beings. It is not restricted to just positivity. That's the new age gobbledygook talking right there. So, yes, Isaac, I'm aware gobbledygook is actually a language now, thanks to the Harry Potter series. Yes, I understand. You actually have a meaning in this, but we'll get to that in a second. That's I know the goblin language. I get it. So the forest person today. Let's see. It was either going to be Ren again or Twiggy, and I cannot remember the name of his friend that channeled in the previous episode. I think when a name gets wiped from your head, sometimes they want that. It's also sometimes a frequency by which then you are tapping into that name frequency, and then you forget that frequency. Like when somebody's in a different timeline, like the SSP was, sometimes that was a wipe from you not being in the timeline anymore, or the encoding decoding was different. This applies to them. Obviously, the name wasn't supposed to stick. I've written it somewhere, but Twiggy was the other guy, and I believe Twiggy is going to be the one to talk today. So, there's also Vitos. Okay, you're around too. Okay, yeah, I see you. Basically, think of them as kind of hippie-ish, with the beads and with the yes, perfect description. Yes, yes. Okay. Um, Okay. Joanna, do you want to add anything?
No, I think let's just go for it. So we hope you enjoy this clip and then we'll bring them right in.
Okay. Okay, I open the circle of true benevolence and not conflicting agendas of this moment of time. Okay, I'll do the one of love. One is harmed, all are harmed. One is helped, all are helped. So therefore, in the name of who I am and I'm one with all there is, I give thanks. This is done. So be it, and so it is. There we go. Okay, let me move this. All right. Da, da, da. Ooh. This. Okay, I get it. You're doing this now because of it has to be said briefly. You got understood. Okay. Hmm. This causes anxiety from your people. Why? Oh, you'll explain. Okay. Clear. Ooh. So you're fine, Ren. That was a little fast. Okay. A little odd because I have not spoken this way before to any of you. Anybody listening, anybody, both of you this way. What I've been trying to relay through quantum is that you see across the internet energetic reports on different sections, different places, different times where you expect the energy to go bad, such as your Mercury retrogrades, your astrology, which is legit, but then you have psionic resonation creating the repetitious pattern of people that then negatively co-create. Oh my God, there's another retrograde. Your Valiant Thor and your Isaac said something similar, co-creating something negative, but this is very specific. Whereas certain energy reports then follow and ghost the people by which then give the reports, turning them into the arsonist and the fireman all at once, meaning they then all generate the necessary energies by which then is felt. This is not always the case, mind you, but it is uh, building up a momentum in this area. I will see if I can explain. Say if you're feeling a very good energy in an area and you're reporting that it is better, good, that is accurate. Say you are also reporting a bad energy in an area, good, accurate. But then there are some things that would duplicate an overlay on one thing on top of another, very much like you see an overlay on top of somebody. He saw a bee recently that had a gray face, and this applies as an overlay or a transmutation or trans configuration. In this would be a holographic integrated overlay or a photonic overlay of an energetic pattern that might be the opposite of by which it feels. I will explain. Say you go into an area and it feels good, and you know genuinely, intuitively that it is good. But say you go into an area, it feels good, but then intuition feels there's something not quite right. You're actually feeling the real thing versus the overlay. The same goes for its antithesis, the feeling bad, but it is actually good. He has felt this quite recently, and he's felt it in its opposites and did not know what this was. So, seeing energy reports across the internet, it's not meaningless. It is actually a good thing, but something is going by trying to analyze versus just feeling. And you see people doing energy reports when we predict it's going to get bad this year, kind of like a weatherman. You can actually predict energies this way, the same way they do weather, but you can't always predict what the overlay is also going to be. Just like they may say it may rain tomorrow or storm tomorrow, but then mental co-creation and energetic co-creation could change it in a blink of an eye. So this is what I really wanted to bring out. Translating to him was not happening in the respect that we had intended. Nothing against him. It's just there was a translation error in the energetics. So I can answer questions.
Um, that's I have any questions, Ren. I think what I was gonna ask, you've already said about the weather fake weather report. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is what I wanted to translate. You can use this as you like, and this can be continued at some other date. But this is what I wanted to get at. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed that clip, and so we'll get right into the crux of this episode. The energies are pretty ugly, I must say, from the binary network. It has been, I must say, very harassing leading up to this. It's like the episode "The Psyops of the Sun" that we did on the solar eclipse with the forest people. Leading up to that, it was pretty ugly, and the one that came after it was slightly. But this is on par with the Psyops of the Sun interference prior to that. So this must be a big enough category to get the punch back from the tripwire. And from the psionic damping field. So yes. Uh, yeah, Isaac's making fun of the statues I have here. He's saying it's the barbershop quartet. I have there's four. I can't pick them up at the moment. But there's four statues in the four colors they are from brown, blonde, red, black. So I'll add a photograph in there or something of them, but I'm not gonna pick them up at the moment. So um, hmm. Okay, Twiggy, is that going to be you this time? Something doesn't feel right here, so okay. Hmm. There's someone else there's two of you that actually want to say things. So Twiggy and Vitos. Okay. All right. All right. Which one? Twiggy. Okay. Wait, that hits the chest though. It's pretty weird. There we go. The crystal, if you would, please. Okay. Sorry for the interference. This is indeed an important subject where Wren broached the subject matter. He'd also never entered into this type of communication before. He's from the Kentucky area, just like Boston is around Tennessee, and me and my friend, who, yes, he didn't wipe the name from his mind. It is in a particular frequency by which the human mind can't always remember it. It is all right. Also, why we choose different nicknames. Even though my name is something different, to use Twiggy, that is actually easier for the brain to remember. It is because of the differential in frequencies. So, what Ren said about the different energetic reports, things of that nature. The meme that he was referring to was one saying that the energies are always intense. You just have to navigate, essentially. But also at the same time, they're always intense. There's no need to give the blow by blow by blow all the time. So, by what has been said about different energies, particles, and wavelengths, by looking at the thing, you are altering the thing. This goes with the multiverse. This go also by the whole Schrodinger's cat principle, by which then you open the box, you're seeing whether the cat is there or not there. If you do not open the box, it is both there and not there at the same time. Some of these states are dependent upon you looking at them or not looking at them. Looking at them sometimes will also perpetuate them in the form that you are used to generating, very much like your incursion concept in your Marvel Cinematic Universe, whereas you are existing within a particular frequency wavelength and encoded decoded state, therefore treading in another universe by which then you are encoding decoding it in a particular way, even unbeknownst to you, therefore causing an incursion in the footprints. Like they said, Mordo said, by every footprint you leave. That is actually a true concept. This is also within the energy as well. You are holding space. Some people also see, if they run businesses, they are in there holding the space, everything's running smoothly. They delegate, take a step back, therefore things start to decay. This is the same principle. You are in an area holding a space, therefore in a particular way that you feel the space must be held. Therefore, what? There's the antithesis as well, by which then what needs to be protected against. Nothing bad about protections. This is what is absolutely needed. Nothing bad about looking and reviewing the energies. This is absolutely needed. That there are times where the enemies at the gates are then expected, or the enemies at the gates, or how can I put this? The energies by which then you are picking up on might not be what you think it is, and therefore what you think it is, then therefore becomes. I hope this makes sense to you. In this, sometimes you are picking up exactly what is needed to be cleared by you at the time. There are so many different differentials in this But the whole thing is feel it out, what your intuition tells you above all else. Your sight, perspectives, and perceptions can always lie to you and will always lie to you because you are feeling in a much broader spectrum than you are seeing. When you think you are picking up on an energy, you're still looking and you're still feeling the overlay. The overlay of the binary network can create its own set of dynamics with the V2K technology, where he said all the presets and everything. Some of the presets for an area when you've hit a tripwire will automatically create a downslide, something that you think needs to be cleared, or an uptick so that you don't clear something. You see, you have to go with intuition whether something needs to be fixed or not. So I will go into questions.
So this is a great conversation because again, we always like to share with people what we feel is going on in the background, how your co-creative skills are messed with, how it is manipulated, how all of these things are going on. So this is really what we're kind of trying to allude to is, again, I swear, I got to tip my hat to those that are, doing these things to people and sending these energies and doing these things because they do a brilliant job. The goal now is to, become aware of it. And then again, the one thing that we'd like to talk about here is what do you do about it? Now, most people think that with the ultimate of what you do about it is to get rid of it. And of course, that would be phenomenal. But that unfortunately is not occurring.
It can't always occur because sometimes some things are fixed, some things fluctuate very slowly, while other things can be removed immediately.
And you also have to understand there is an internal learning that is going on for people to enhance their own personal skills, to be able to maneuver through situations and energies. How do you move around it? And I think, again, people are underestimating the power of ignoring something and basically, or shunning something. And I mean this in a way, not in a negative way, because you're right. I think what I'm talking about is after you have done all of that really discerning and trying to figure out what's going on, what do I need to do about it? Sometimes the answer is nothing. You give no energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't allow your co-creative skills to be moved and manipulated and this, that, and the other. You do nothing about it.
Yes, and the Draco that sometimes pass through your area, I'm not going to give them any energy as far as they like to call themselves the masters of manipulation, which is incorrect, I might add. But if they were, they would not need meat puppets to do their jobs for them. You so like to say that demonic life forms cannot co-create to a certain spectrum, therefore they need humans. For Draco, this is ultimately true because of their reptilian nature. Therefore, mammalian you've heard this before, can project a much larger, broader, co-creative set of skills that they simply cannot do with certain biochemicals. Certain energetic forms cannot do the same. So therefore, they must try to alter the state of an area to be more applicable to their own kind, but also sometimes, like what he said years ago, he pegged it. Sometimes by focusing on the fact you are protecting against the thing, you are then incurring the enemy at the gates.
Right. You're creating the thing to have to push back against.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and that's what everyone has to understand. A lot of what is going on is again, nothing new, just being noticed, okay? Feeling it, seeing it.
It doesn't mean that they're not there. That's what I also want to say.
Right. But what do you do about it? Is it just something that you just need to walk past and not allow that type of energy to manipulate you? And again, I find this conversation very interesting because again, we've been talking about it for so many years, but this provides another example of what people now, I've always said more people, year by year, more people are feeling it. More people are feeling that pressure coming back, however you want to describe it. Then the question is, okay, I think many more people are noticing, what do you do about it?
Mm-hmm.
What is what they're good at. So you have to remember, go ahead.
Yes, keep the property clear at all times, like you guys have been doing. Absolutely so. But do not call any of your protective measures weaker in any stretch of the imagination unless you're seeing something as gaining an immunity to something, which is not completely happening. But at the same time, yes, you were talking about different frequencies and countersuits and all the stuff on GIC, which is absolutely true, by the way. But you have, like, say, your aquatic Draco, for instance, that are resistant to most things, with the exception of your Tower Buster and your Sigil, the Merkaba Sigil. Those work incredibly well because it electrocutes them and basically tries to deprogram and reprogram it at the same time, and they hit it. But and they won't go near it, kind of like a vampire to the cross or crucifix kind of thing. It's the same principle. But with this, though, the way you resolve it, yes, go into a property with the intent to clear, to put it in a particular state that not just that you're used to, but that is actually feels good. There's a difference here. You may be used to a particular energy. It does not mean that the other energy is bad. It just means that you are used to, like a saltwater fish is used to saltwater, freshwater fish is used to freshwater. But can some not traverse between them? This may seem odd, given the fact that you go into multiple energy dynamics on a regular and constant basis. Like sometimes you'll feel dense, but dense could mean focus from a being that might be irked that you're in their territory. It may not be evil. Sometimes it means fear. Sometimes it means evil, where you feel true evil intentions. And your military does this too with some of the dark and light energies. They've been manipulating a lot in the area too. But when you feel really decrepit evil that is entrenched is when you get the disgusting and creepy thoughts that you said in your creepy thoughts episode to begin with. That is evil. This is also manipulating a lot of people. But say you go into an area and you feel it is denser. This may be because you're not used to certain fluctuations. You may be accustomed to them. People can become accustomed to anything, even darker, creepy thoughts, you see. So they can get sense blind. But if you're trying to pull away from certain energy fluctuations like he has done to recluse himself from certain fluctuations, this can also preclude the fact that you might be reclusing yourself away from nature itself because it too has fluctuation. It doesn't stay here. What you may be doing is you're used to a certain state, but you're putting yourself into a fishbowl. To break out of that fishbowl, you'll become accustomed to a lot of these different energies, and it doesn't necessarily mean wherever you go, there's going to be the enemy at the gates. Now, like the concept you said, where people declare themselves a targeted individual, literally everyone that is on planet Earth has been targeted to some degree in those fluctuations. You poke your head above the psionic dampening, you hit the tripwire, therefore you think you're one of the only ones that's being hit. Literally everyone, if you're within Earth's biosphere, you're being hit. The whole chains around the Earth concept. This is what I'm talking about right here. If you are moving about and you're afraid something is going to attach to you, like he's been doing, therefore, certain things have tried to make their way to them. Or if you've repeated a certain action a number of times, the mind begins to co-create its own doom. Therefore, the heart and the intuition and the soul have to balance all of this out. I'm not saying that there aren't these things, because there are. We combat them on a regular and constant basis. However, if you are constantly going, what's this? Looking over your shoulder does not incur what is around you. Also, the phrase from your next generation, your Guinan said, if a man truly believes he's going to die, he will find a way to make it happen. This is also that. Also in the co-creation area that Ren was talking about, there was an episode of Your Quantum Leap where Al said rain wouldn't hit this area for 6 months or more. And Sam goes out and basically asks God to make it rain over and over again. He's trying to get people to co-create it, and in the end, it does. This is the weather report that Ren was talking about. But just know that, yes, there are enemies at the gates periodically. But there are stumble bums. Let's just say I'll preclude using the word stupid. Stumble bum that do come at you. It's like that the old phrase. The world isn't full of stupid people. It's just they're being aimed at you. That's part of the targeting. But at the same time, do you not, when you get to a certain mindset or within yourself or energetic state, are you not then used to stumble bums coming at you on a regular basis? This also occurs.
Well, I think it's important
And
because,
walking the path, I should say. Yes, yes.
right. And so one of the things, again, that I think this is where we give news that people don't want to hear, is the area that this is nothing new, that this has been going on forever. And guess what? It's not going to poof go away. And so what's required,
Become used to something else.
what's required is the enhancements of your personal skills. There is no way around this. And this is the one thing that I think people really want to do this when we're talking, because there's personal responsibility to grow your skills, to understand what's really going on. And then, we say with full confidence that yes, you will be able to develop skills that'll say, for example, you're walking in a forest, you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. You're not scared to run to your car, but you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable and trying to sit there and ponder what is going on and what am I feeling? And is that okay? That's certainly okay. It's when you cross the line of knowing, I just don't think I should be there, but for some reason, you're like, challenge accepted, and you foolishly ignore those senses of maybe you should leave, and then you
Yes.
wonder why you get into trouble.
Yeah.
So first of all, you need to not ignore yourself. Now, oftentimes as you're learning these skills, you would maybe walk away from something you really didn't need to, but you still needed to, because the bottom line is you weren't sure what was going on. And absolutely, we've been saying this for years. In a city, you're going to have all kinds of energies depending on what block you're on, flowing through like icebergs and going on. You cannot put yourself in a fishbowl trying to only have one set of energies, waiting for the world to, be at that one frequency that you feel comfortable in. It doesn't work that way.
Yes, the same goes with your politics. They are going to fluctuate for a multitude of years, where red state, blue state. People cannot always base on where they live. Based on this, we understand the importance of certain viewpoints and what you are used to. We're not saying that that is not a good thing. Of course, we stick to our own, but just know that between your red and blue, between you and I, is going to fluctuate quite rapidly in the next few years. So even where you guys are, to a certain extent, like a little bit, shake it up and then stay. Even he and Richie caught something of one of your state leaders with a replacement issue. I cannot go into that. But also between him and himself, there's this Nebovert concept as well. Whereas you go from an introverted state into a more extroverted, partial extroverted state, whereas you want to be around people and want to do things to basically be around people and continue to do what you do. But before, as you wanted to be isolated and away from people that had maybe the vaccine shedding or attachments or something like that. I cannot promise that that is not a thing, because yes, it is a thing. And yes, there are viruses, diseases, all this other stuff. That's like going through life with a mask going, no, oh, I can't be around people. This is the same identical concept, but for the energies. This is why Isaac was always making fun of him, of a vision he saw of him wearing a surgical mask. So as a joke, but basically saying he was doing the same thing, is essentially for the energies. Not necessarily the shirts and stuff being that, or the stickers being that, because that is actually done wonderful thing. But staying in a certain state, knowing full well you are not in that state anymore, it is because and causing a conflict within your own energies also incurs the enemies at the gates as well, because you are not being authentic to yourself by remaining in the state you were before a change occurred.
So let's use the same example that we were just talking about, where you walk into an area. And again, this could be any area. This could be an office building. This could be, going to a place where you're going to try to have an event, let's say, and things like that are going on. And you are, noticing, let's just say pushback, right? Pushback or things that are coming on. You're feeling it. Now, you may not be getting that red alert, and hopefully you won't be getting that red alert that I need to walk away. But what are you going to do next? And this is where most people are at, because what ends up happening is that if you start mulling this around in your head and you start going into a feeling of I'm being attacked, a feeling of I'm being persecuted, a feeling of whatever, what are you now actually co-creating? You actually are spending the energies to allow those kinds of things to begin to happen to you. This is where, we've said over and over and over again, what you must do is sidestep that. You need to spend time seeing whatever it is you want to do, being how you want it to be. What does it look like, taste like, smell like? Spend your time bringing that forward. This is, with thoughts like this really has so much momentum. People are so interested, and, its time has come. This is going to be successful. Connections are going to be made. People are going to be helped. And that momentum will not be stopped. That's how you should be thinking about things, as far as when a force is coming your way, not spending time, woe is me, not spending time, it's going to collapse, not spending time. Look, they're out there. They've always been out there. They have always been out there. They have always noticed. They have always done. This is nothing new. Just because you've now noticed it, don't think it's new. Nothing is new. So the goal now is to learn how to co-create and sidestep it and keep moving forward. And that's what, is going on, I think, right now with a lot of people, is that moment of people know something's going on. And then they're caught up in, what are my mind thoughts now going to be about it? And this is where historically that your co-creative skills have then been used against you, because they can put you in fear, right? They have been able to do that.
Your V2AK operators have tried that for your convention as well. This is where the military comes in.
Correct. It happens everywhere. And so, how do you do that? What's the difference between having a good experience at Walmart and a bad experience at Walmart when you walk in every day?
Even though the bogging down of other people's energies can be painful and can drain you, this is no different than going into a hospital. You have to have a mantra or a word in place when you go into these places, so you don't automatically co-create your own doom, like co-creating, well, this place drains me. Well, yeah, that might be true sometimes, but some days it might not. Some people get into the energetic mindset, energy workers and stuff, like, oh, I can't be in places like that. Well, yes, you can, because everybody can grow an immunity to it.
Right. You can grow an immunity. And again, you will now use your co-creative skills to say, no, I am not limited. I think, that's the one thing. Are you going to limit yourself? Are you really a limited person? Or are you going to try and grow past that? To whose benefit does it really work for you to put yourself in a limited mindset? Now, I'm not unacknowledging true illnesses that occur when they occur, and you have an acute illness and you are tied up in your home for a while, let's say recovering. Again, don't wordsmith me with, trying to tell me, well, there are these situations. Of course, there are these situations. We're talking about this general overall mindset of how this is done to try and divide people, conquer people, but especially conquer your mindset. I think, again, there is such great importance now of getting out and being amongst other people right now, because if all you are is at home, and if all you are is watching mainstream media, they have got you thinking the world and the people in the world are a certain way, and the vast majority are not. They're manipulating you with a thought process to get you to believe things when they do some nefarious stuff, that it would make sense that that nefarious stuff happened because of what you're seeing, although what you're seeing was just a playette to put you in that mindset to accept what they are going to do. So you have to become aware of this. There is no way around personal responsibility to understand. Again, I think the formula sounds good. 50% is understanding everything. That's where we feel our role is, to help people understand how these things work, and then how to grow in a way that it can help you maneuver around that.
And act on it and then resolve it. Yeah.
And act on it and then resolve it. The acting on it, part of that acting on it is catching yourself and changing now your mindset and how you maneuver around it.
Mhm.
I agree that this is a good timing for this, because it has been turned up. We got to admit, some of this really has been turned up.
You're not wrong there. It has been turned up, but it can also go per the individual how quickly you hit the tripwire as well. Like when you press, like say, like if you're cooking up meat or something, you press it against the skillet. Does not that not burn it faster, kind of thing? It's kind of along those lines, or being hit with against hot coals, or stepping on hot coals, or something like that. But to adapt to this, it's very much like in your Man of Steel, whereas the Kryptonians that come to Earth, when they get exposed to Earth's atmosphere, they start getting all dizzy and everything, and then also they start to get charged by the sun, like Superman, like Zod at the end. He goes, I've spent my life adapting as a soldier. This is no different. It's like that. It's exactly that same concept. You're entering these energetic environments. You're entering unknown territory, both timeline wise, energy wise, and self wise. Everybody is responsible for their own audit, by which then weakens them to these attacks. That's part of that 50% at the beginning. Yes, overage and all that, can be dealt with by beings such as us and stuff like that. But at the same time, even overage can be adapted to, and we are not accounting for these really horrible attacks that turn people's personalities into monsters. Yet we see this on a regular basis. That is genuine evil right there. Oppression, possession. And yes, I know Isaac channeling is a type of possession. I understand. Now, with what is going on, it is part of that 50% is coming to that realization. Some people call it a mass awakening. That is also not going to take place. People will be as they are. Some will change. Some will do their inner audits and all these inner shadow work, and some will not. Yes, a thought renaissance, like the Lyrans would say, is not necessarily a mass awakening like you've been promised. It is just more or less like if the equipment turned off now, people would go, why did I act this way? But then some would still remain in certain patterns. Some you would show things to repeatedly, like aliens and whatnot, and they like people in academia, and they still would not believe it, no matter how much proof. Like your character from Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, which was the mayor. No matter what happened, he was transfixed on the Ghostbusters. He did not believe certain things, no matter what happened to the city, like in the first movie. Those type of people. They are unwavering, unchanging, and this is not negative, me saying this, but sometimes death is the only recourse, because they eventually leave this world, and eventually you have another generation that does not act in the way that the previous one did.
Well, thank you. So tell me, I am curious, how is this affecting your people, your youth? I mean, we know that it does.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on?
Yes, we have stabilized our position since even the last time we spoke. Him and Richie have found out that we told him and both of them that him and Richie that we have established our tribal centers. Even though we have slightly less elders than before, we have established order out of chaos, meaning some of our young people, just like your own, got controlled. It's just like in your Picard season 3, where you saw the AI controlling. Same things was happening to some of our young people that were not following some of the old teachings. So you bring back some of the old, keep the wisdom of the elders, but at the same time, you are knowing when to adapt and when to change with the times. We managed to corral this, like the one forest person you ran you that he nicknamed Jojo because because of the way he acted, and also because it was based on a horror movie character. Of that, and Fuma had to corral him. Things like that aren't happening as much. He even saw one of our people walking by with a red hat on and smoking a cigarette that he had pilfaged off of a homeless person or some such thing. Yes, some of us do act this way. We are not all perfect. We're like yourselves. Some of us, yes, are in different frequency layers, things of that nature. But as far as the young people go, we are getting a handle on that control. It is not perfect, but we are in a much more fortified position than we were in 2020.
So, when we cross over again to humanity, when we talk about humanity's youth, the children, the youth that are, I don't know, I'm going to say 30 and younger, even the younger ones coming in. I find this whole thing interesting because, although many people wanted a changeover that was like a poof, an instant pudding, one day like this, next day like this. I think the one thing that we've been trying to say, it doesn't work that way. You can't, make everyone think the same. Uh, you can't move them and make them all grow at the same rate. You can't do these things. It's not how life here works. And everyone has their right to learn and grow at their own rate. It's something that it's one of those things. So I always am fascinated, with the fact that the ones that are older, the ones that are older than that everything, it's almost like it's always a baton pass to the younger generations to continue it. I find, this interesting now with some of the dynamics that have been going on, of course, within school systems who really want total control of your kids. Well, obviously, they don't want certain wisdoms and certain conversations occurring at home that would benefit them. But my curiosity is, again, innate changes that happen on a genetic level. Let's say, where is souls come in? Is it true that souls come in that are more prepared for the challenges of the time that are coming? I mean, all of this cumulative knowledge over hundreds of thousands of years.
Some of that is actually true, but then he's also seen some souls that have never seen some of these things before and wonders why they keep wanting to know more about pain and suffering. There is an illusion taking place here, whereas the psionic dampening is creating some of it, but it is sometimes the oversouls get an avatar stuck in places. You have seen this before, where he saw an alternate timeline where somebody used sleeper technology to come into this timeline to change things, but their avatar got into an indoctrinated situation. There was another one where somebody in the Mayan Federation, by the name of Celestine, she came in to incarnate, and her version that was operating at the same time here on Earth was very heavily indoctrinated Christian. She could not snap that avatar out of it to save her life. And it didn't go exactly as planned because of what happened, like what Jeffrey Hunter said. That's kind of one of the in his channel. Whereas sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men often gang and glay because of the fact that sometimes you don't work out of what you need to work out. Now, are there other avatars in play that make sure that that it happens somewhere? Yes. Also, the butterfly effect makes sure that sometimes it happens somewhere as well within the multiverse and in your own timeline. I say timelines because, again, the shit in this, the some of this information you're seeing is why are these souls just wanting more of this pain and suffering? That's not always the case. Some of these oversouls have already learned these things, and some of the avatars have been stuck within the false incarnation grid, and they're trying to find a way out of it. It's not always as easy as like this. Yes, you have spirit, which is eternal. You have the avatars that have a beginning life to death type of situation. You have all in between. But the connection, the receptivity, I shouldn't say the connection, like the receptivity to spirit isn't always certain. Sometimes, yes, the oversoul comes in and wants to correct things here and change things here. Sometimes it doesn't always work and they have to do the multiple avatar thing. Now, with some of these supposed new souls coming in, there's no such thing. And I will put this in as another misnomer in this conversation. There is absolutely no such thing as a new soul. All souls are eternal. All souls are ancient. If somebody is coming in and they're naive as to how something works, they're alien. That their avatar is alien to some extent, that they don't know how to operate here properly. Or there's somebody that just came from an extremely high vibrational state or fast moving state to that of somebody who maybe has autism or Asperger's. Now there's alien tampering that's going to be involved, even mostly tampering that's been involved in this. I won't go too much into that. But, in between here, think of us, say, as somebody who's incarnated. You have the spirit self that's already there. Then you have yourself that's already here. You have the multiverse to deal with. Do you think those oversouls are stupid? Do you think they don't know what pain and suffering looks like? That why do I have to keep learning about this over and over again from lifetime to lifetime? It's a trap. That's why it's a trick. It doesn't mean your planet's a prison planet. It doesn't mean our planet's a prison planet. It doesn't mean anything. Do not co-create that as well. That's another ill co-creation on the internet, that the Earth has been a matrix or a prison planet. And now, but because the bad guys want you to create again co-create your own targeting doom and gloom. This goes for oversouls, where sometimes an avatar gets stuck someplace. They can see it, but they can't always affect change in the way they thought they could. This is a very important distinction. This is why, like this person goes, I must have just been blind when I signed this soul contract. There's no such thing as a soul contract. There never has been and never will be. That is a business type of vernacular that needs to disappear. The whole, oh, it's in my contract. What contract? Where exactly? You came in, yes, you're performing a mission and a plan that the Oversoul is working on. That is all. Like what Frank Frazetta said, he came in, he changed the artistic community, he did what he wanted to do, and he integrated that into his big soul eternal knowledge base. That's what is going on, an expansion of that self. When people think they're dealing with source, they're dealing with themselves in spirit. So with also that said, one final point on this is that, again, I will reiterate, there is no such thing as a new soul. There is no such thing as one that's older or younger than others. You are just in a different part of the galaxy, a different part of the multiverse doing your thing, in multiple existences at once, everything everywhere all at once. There is no such thing as an old soul or a new soul. It just how much are you tapping into that information? How much are you having to correct from the infections of the oversoul? How much they could go bring part of the better parts of the oversoul and the better parts of the avatars. He likes to say grounding in your I am presence in different perspectives and perceptions. This is exactly what's going on. There's no such thing as a new soul or an old soul. It's just that more of that information has come in, therefore gives the appearance to a seer as being an ancient soul or a new one.
Thank you. And so I think, when we look at that and we look at the youth coming in, if we look at it at a much bigger level, there are so many trillions and trillions of souls that are coming here to forward the agenda overall as an experience within this expression. And it is really trying to say we've gone down we've suffered pain and suffering enough. We've suffered all of this enough. We've done it. We know it inside and out. How about we move to this flip side, let's say, of the coin, and understand what it's like to build back and understand each other and grow unity and have now experiences out there exploring and this, that, and the other, which means that the souls in general that are coming in, and again, I don't know which percentage, 80% of them or whatever. Again, you're talking about those that are kind of also having other experience on the outlier, have come in pre-wired to try and push this agenda forward. So what would be a great way to dampen them is to somehow convince the older generations that the younger generations are stupid, that the younger generations, that are coming through are going to destroy this earth.
Yeah,
That,
the previous generations are out of step. That's another one.
right. So I think, again, when we talk about the mechanisms in which we self-farm, I guess, again, we're talking about how do we self-farm? How do we actually cause these things with the now generational thoughts? Because again, and what's going on out there to try and keep us with those generational thoughts? For example, you may or may not have noticed the college campuses lately, as if that's all the youth. It's as if they all think that way. They do not.
No,
These are
small portions.
small amounts that they are giving so much airtime to get everyone to think this is how these crazy youth are, and they're just going to destroy everything.
90 to 95% of them don't think that way.
Right. So again, part of this conversation is to bring about awareness, like we say, of how is it done? And then again, what do you do about it? You ignore that. Is that the world you want? No. So, okay, there is a small percentage. Maybe I should get out there and meet some of these youth, and maybe I'll find out a little bit different story. I think also do not confuse generations that are coming in to break down systems that no longer work for us and confuse that as a destruction, right, of all systems, and that our society is going into chaos. Certain structures do not work for society's highest good, and they are going to have to change. People have to come in and change them. People have to look at work differently. People have to do all of these things. And the infrastructure that is currently in place is not in place necessarily for humanity's good. It causes an elite and a serf system. And, some of these things are going to have to change. It's not going to be the people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that necessarily do all the changing. It's going to be those generations that come up. And so how do you support that? You need to have a belief system that understands something that the other side understands when they think of things in hundreds and hundreds of years versus just current, present moment, instant pudding. You have to, see it working differently. And you have to see it overall as systems that need to be changed because they are not working for humanity's highest good to be changed, for people to understand, for all of this stuff. And then again, if you really believe that, if you really believe these things, then you then have to allow these other thoughts to just pass by you and not give energies to them.
Like your carrot and a stick that Isaac brought up and all the others brought up on your GIC. Whereas people are sitting, hoping and praying and waiting for disclosure, like with, say, technologies that you want, like your free energy and your med beds and all this other stuff. They are using this as a carrot and a stick on you so that you don't conduct your own inner retrospection and your own inner shadow work. They're trying to distract you with these carrots and stick going, saying, oh, this will be solved here. Yes. Will some of these technologies be re-released? They're already being released. You're seeing the effects of it, but it is so gradual, you're getting so used to it that you don't think of it. You're thinking Star Trek, you're not thinking current. Yes, some of these assholes out there, like your Martian Germans, have Star Trek level technology. This cannot be denied. Your Galactic Senate, absolutely so. People are still thinking Star Trek. They're thinking, yes, this technology exists because they're picking up on it. They're picking up on it on different parts of the galaxy. They're remembering different existences that they were in those situations. I mean, Secret Space Program included, with your healing tech, where he saw limbs being regrown with the little octagonal rings put on stumps, essentially. Tapping into molecular cellular solid ability. Medbed, same thing. Healing rooms. You are remembering different points in your soul's history. You're also seeing multiverse. You're also seeing where there could be another avatar coexisting at the same time on a ship somewhere that this is happening to. People dream of this. Just like I said in Multiverse of Madness, your Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where they said dreams were the windows of the multiverse. It's also the windows to your other avatars, like he has been picking up on quite fervently. And any references that you're picking up on some of these technologies, yes, you are picking up on all the hidden stuff in the bases. That is not denied. You're picking up on aliens walking amongst you. Absolutely so. You're picking up on their tech you had in ancient times, even tech that was in the Asgardian period that might not be completely available, like in your Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, where you had the Commonwealth at one point. Dylan Hunt jumps 300 years in the future via being frozen inside of the black hole, comes out, everybody's trying to salvage the old tech. What do you think is happening now in the galaxy? That is a perfect example because, like your stone technology, they couldn't rebuild that if they tried. But just like you saw in your Ahsoka series, where you had the ancient galactic travel technology that the new fledgling Republic didn't have, nor did the Empire. So this is an exact truth where you have when Lyra came back, they've had to scrounge for some resources. They've had to reclaim their old ships. They can repair, but they're having to look for and mine the materials in other galaxies to look for what was strip mined during the Orion and Lyran wars. This is what has happened, folks. It's like Star Trek out there. It's been kind of intermingled, but then you still have all these separate species, but you have this history that happened so damn long ago. Some have forgotten, and you'll find some are more like yourselves. You'll find humans out there too. So you have to remember what you are picking up on, like in your Stargate with all the planets of humans. What you're picking up on is, yes, it is being withheld from you. That is not being denied. And they're carrot and sticking you constantly with the Q movement thing. Oh, JFK Jr. is coming back. Bullshit. It's the same thing. Forget about the med beds. Forget about the healing tech. Bring yourself back into balance. That is key right now. And Adhala, meaning the calm.
Well, thank you. So I'm just going to give you any time you want right now to say anything else.
Yes, this is quite interesting. Ren, he loved doing the channeling. The reason it was so short, he was not completely in his comfort zone doing that, or else he would have gone on and on and on and on and on and on. But because he's very talkative, but he was not used to using the voice box. Also, he was not used to the amount of not only just activity around, but he was not used to this type of situation. Yes, there are channelers all over the place that talk to my people. It is not what you think. There are those that are claiming they're channeling the quantum Sasquatch. We're all quantum. Every life form is quantum everywhere. We are just tapping into different aspects of that. And some of us are more like yourselves where they have forgotten that. That's some of the younger ones. And also some of the intermediate Sasquatch forest people. Some have relearned, some have not. Same thing with the dogmen. Some have relearned, some have not. Some have gone barbaric. Same thing with, of course, our people and the face eaters, all of them. It's all intermingled. And we also talked about the barbaric abominations known as Yeti last time. But at any rate, it is a mixed bag, like in your Grim, by the way. At any rate, you are responsible for your own audit. Yes, can some of the controlling stuff overwhelm? He has had this happen on several occasions, and he recognizes that that was a level of control. There's been a certain level of immunity that has taken place since those times in Arizona, I might add. But it has, and you've also jumped timelines to where it is a better outcome. That said, you must be responsible for your own audit. You must not keep playing into their gaslighting, both politically and, how can I put this? Metaphysically and alien wise. They are running an op at the moment to try to get you to focus on an outside savior. You must act in your own life like this is not a necessity. You must act as if it is never going to be needed, nor has it been. This is really one of the only ways that you will begin to have proper contact. You cannot see them as a savior, nor can you fear them, nor can you fear the technology, nor can you act like you need to be saved by it. Yes, there is superior medical technology out there. You are picking up on it on a regular and constant basis, and you are praying and co-creating that it appears here. Wonderful, but at the same time, don't get in the gaslit and ill co-creative snare by which then you're wanting it, by which you're putting and wishing for it, you're pushing it to the future, and then trying to cycle it back towards you, and you sit and you do nothing and you live the pain lifestyle. This is a no-no. A pain lifestyle means not necessarily that we're being incompassionate towards people's pain. It is that people start to create more of it, and then they don't do anything. And they don't do anything to correct it, and then they sit and die. This is something that bothers us. So, this is where I wanted to leave it. Remember, analam, the calm, to begin with. Then you begin to see all that is around you in that calm silence. Thank you. Ugh. Something was felt my head being touched there. Right in this spot, I was feeling like this on there. Meaning he was wanting to that he was ready to detach. But at any rate, I find this actually very, very interesting. Just like from time to time, you'll have seen in the previous episode of The World of Sasquatch, where as you saw that paranormal activity in one of the little videos, and I was wearing this exact shirt, and that if you want to narrow down where it is in that gargantuanly 7-hour size video, that was there. You'll see the purple shirt, and you'll also see some tendrils in the way, or like little like hair like things. This is, and I debunked the whole thing through the whole thing. You'll see the faces. That is a good example of overlay. That is a good example of somebody else like Isaac and the Forest people wanting to show it in front of you. You'll get those opportunities, and they're not as common as you would think. Even though there's a lot of paranormal activity out there, there are some genuine things and synchronicities that happen that you just scream, "Hey, this is something you need to look into." And this is that's again why we're doing these things. And also, I am including another ghost box session on there. The only time you won't see it is if I haven't found really much of anything. Sometimes that's you don't. So I think this is a good place to take us out. Unless you have something else to add.
No, I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation and got something out of it, and we look forward to talking again.
Mm-hmm. And thank you everybody for watching this program. And thank you for everything. So I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Okay, we're back out here at P Island again, in the Outer Banks. See? Brought the ghost box again, the same spot. Relatively, I was over here, but there's people in here this time. But, yeah, here now we're in the same spot. Right here. All right. So, we're back here at P Island. And I'm bringing the ghost box with again. We're not going to be back out here till after the convention. So the 2024 Disclosure Now convention in St. Petersburg, Florida in mid-July. So dates and times below in the description. So and links. So this is what I will do. Richie talked to me this morning. Caught a couple of aquatic Draco around us. He cleared. I caught an Orion around him based on what was said in our discussion, which I included a piece of in this show that you've seen. You more than likely have seen it by now. So, I'm doing the ghost box to clarify. He said Ren was helping out, but let me see. I won't mention any familial names, but the questions are as follows. I'm running a blank, but have there been any attacks on family recently? Are there any important messages by true benevolence with no conflicting agendas? True benevolent Isaac, true benevolent Elaine and Vessa, true benevolent my grandfather, Robert Stainovich, benevolent Vivian Stainovich, and any various family members. And any nods to the George synchronicity. Bear in mind, folks, I know it's out of context, but it will end up on its own video. See,
I'm all kind of fucked up from lunch. Apparently, that when it said in the last video, hypoglycemic, apparently that was true. So there's some things that do come through that are diamonds in the rough. So, I will flip this around and get the ghost box started. Okay, here we go.
S-Box.
Let's go this way.
Scanning. FM.
I heard from high school. Who is that? Anything else from any of our benevolent soul family? True benevolence with no conflicting agendas. Messages currently. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you to all who spoke. If I cut somebody off mid-sentence like I did last time, I'm sorry. But now I'm closing the circle for this Ghostbox session as of this moment in time. It is 3:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, June 15th, 2024. Thank you. Reference to an EPP that said Moon Goddess. Now, you saw all the rest of what I said. That's in there. A man says, a moon goddess, you believe in darkness, as for they served in the annals of the darkness. That's a V2K shithead, but you get the idea. It is 12:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Thank you. You saw the name Wolf mentioned in there. Like German for wolf or wolfhaz. Male name. A Scandinavian also it referred to as the year or warg. And I saw also there was a social network called the Wolf Network, meaning all walks of life. I think this is part of the message as well. Whereas also Wolf AZ, meaning Arizona, meaning where I was running into the Martian Germans on some occasions, also the Lancaneers, the Tall Whites, even any of those groups. associated with also the Martian Germans, the sectoids, all of it. So, with that said, a woman in the EVP said, in a German accent, Megan Fox is your girlfriend. Vesa then responds to, you suck, ask Wolf. And so, also it refers to Loki's children that had to do with the gods of the sun and moon. This also has to do with sun and moon cycles that are cycles that Elena and Vesa can talk in as well, because of the time differential. And this also what Bjorn and I found out, that they were associated with, like that was basically talking about, showed lunar cycles in an image, an AI image of theirs, where they were kind of, one was overshadowing the other, kind of like sun and moon cycles, or the episode of Next Generation known as Masks with Misaka and Gargano. It was kind of along those lines. And this also refers to, like, Loki's children. There's also Babylonian references as well. And also, as Riker puts it, he goes, oh, this is primitive technology, and Picard says, no, deceptively primitive, where the whole Enterprise was being turned into an alien city of stone and, like Stone Age, like primitive looking. And Data had all the personalities of all the people. Yeah, excellent episode. All the people in the civilization, including Misaka. And Picard had to take the role of Gargano. Gargano wasn't around anymore, so he had to surmise what the character could possibly be based on all the mythology and the history he knew from Earth. So, and it was the same. So, and that shows, I'm thinking that links into the progenitor thing. At least I would have entered that in, or at least some race that, like, preserver or something. I mean, that's me. But, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. See, Isaac's not the only one that can multi-layer a Groot response. Vesa and Elena Vesa can also, and Bjorn referred to them as Alessa, meaning shifting places, or role reversal, or like they say, sub and dom. But anyway, I'll stop talking, but it is, role reversal. But anyway, that's how they were referring to New Schwabenlander interference, or Martian German, which I think that's interesting. So that it came up there. And also the different frequencies, and also the conversation that the Force people were having here. Let me see. It is, I now have to look. It is the Truth of Energy Reports and reports. It's the Truth of Energy Reports, Co-Creation, or Real. And that was filmed on 6/16/24. 2 days ago from the time of this recording. I've been going through over the EVP. So yeah, this I thought that was interesting. And I suppose the Ghost Box thing goes under Energy Report, even though they said it was kind of pointless, but they also don't like, the Force people don't like the Ghost Box. They said the other things were slightly pointless to a point. Still, this is actually enlightening. And I don't, before people say, oh, you're completely getting your truth from that. No, completely the opposite. And some people go, oh, that's no different than a Ouija board. No, Ouija board completely evil, like we said in the Ouija board episode, and Pendulum and Tarot card episode of the lifting. And Ghost Box can turn slowly into something dark, and you have to replace it once a quarter or so, because the energy gets really heavy, like the one me and Joanna burned, gave a Viking funeral, ironically, in Nightdale. So I just want to clarify that point. So it is 12:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Thank you. One more point I will add. You see Vesa saying, go fuck a cheesecake in there. It was meant as I was feeling before, what I mentioned beforehand, what I felt like was hypoglycemic. I'd eaten at a restaurant, Black Pelican. We go there to the Outer Banks once a quarter to go eat. And I had a piece of Reese's cheesecake, and I felt horrible afterwards. That's me. It's not the place. It's me. And meaning, she was saying those New Schwabenlanders or the Martian Germans were the ones that put the poisons in the food to begin with. Put over amount of sugar, over amount of viral contaminants in it, GMOs, and make people fat, slow, and less likely to insurrect against them. And stupid, psionic dampening, you know the rest. So, it is That's what was meant. So I wanted to clarify that. It is 12:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Thank you. A couple more corrections where you see my grandfather, Sainovich, saying any messages, dark elves, this is Syrian, look-alike, they were faking us. Meaning when Tumas came through on GIC, was talking, and on Diamonds, it wasn't actually my grandfather. It was a mimic the whole time. Even when I was working with a guy that Richie and I nicknamed Nutfucker, he was saying, oh, there's a clone of your grandfather. What he was really showing was this this Syrian mimicker that was around that was also, that Nutfucker was inviting it. We call him that because either that or Nutter, but Nutfucker was better. Or Nutterfucker. Hashtag Nutfucker, hashtag Nutterfucker. That's Richie, you'll know who I'm talking about. So this is, they have nothing to do with us. We've never left your side. Your grandfather, that's to say your grandfather Saint Vitch, they were faking him. We're so sorry. And you're seeing a bunch of apologies in there. They were lying to the previous regime on GIC. So that's what they were apologizing to me for. Because they were protecting me from a very potential explosive situation on that end. A handling situation, and also a politically driven from the radio station agenda. Where they didn't accept the me saying that both political parties were the theater puppets, and it was all swamp, and the fact that I said Trump was order, Biden was chaos, Trump was comedy, and Biden was tragedy, like the old theater puppets. That it was all performance, and it's New Schwabenlander and Martian German, essentially doing this. So propaganda, essentially, on both sides to get you to pick a side when you really don't have a vote or a say. You need to make sure you get one. I will add that. That's the one and only political thing I will put in here. I'm being told time out. It's an analyzation, guys. I know, but okay. It is 12:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I said I would be transparent in some of this, and I am. It is 12:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Thank you.